Brett Magee. This is your first season at UNIS Flyers. And of course, we are all curious who is that number 59. You were born and raised in Canada. Can you tell us something about your family, about your childhood?
Both my parents were teachers growing up. So in the winter time when they weren't working, they were chasing me around the rink. And I have one sister. She's 2.5 years older than me, and she was playing ice hockey too. So yeah, my parents were super busy. And I'm really fortunate because hockey is an expensive sport, yeah. And so I'm really fortunate for the time and money that my parents put into me to be able to play. So I grew up in Edmonton, Alberta, and it's a very cold part of Canada. I think right now it's maybe minus 30 Celsius outside. And so the nice part of that is in the winter time, it enables us to skate on the outdoor rink for 3 months of the year, right? And so that's really where I grew my love of playing hockey, was just going outside and just playing with your buddies. My backyard was kind of sloped towards the house, so we couldn't have the backyard rink because then when it would thaw in the summer, it would kind of flood our basement, so that kind of sucked. But there was a local rink within a 5-minute walk. You could go play with your buddies. And then in the summertime, when there was no outdoor rink, I'd be playing road hockey with my buddies or playing in my basement. I had a really big basement that was unfinished, just had concrete, and we'd go down there and just kind of mess around. But I played other sports too. Like I played football or soccer in the summertime, played some basketball, played some volleyball. And I think that was all obviously good to just develop my overall athleticism. I think too many kids now are just like 12 months of the year playing hockey, right? And I think, my parents never really like pushed me to, let's say, do camps or do things I didn't want to do. I had to do that on my own. And I think it was good because I think a lot of kids maybe have their parents having them do too much, and it kind of burns them out a little bit. And I really believe that's a big reason why I'm still playing. Of my friends I grew up playing, a lot of them are done working real jobs, so to speak. And, I still have a big love of the game, and that's why I'm still here. So.
Yeah, and you're from Edmonton, so I guess you are a big fan of the Edmonton Oilers?
Yeah, of course. Don't really have a choice. The Oilers moved to Edmonton in 1974. And then Wayne Gretzky came to the team in 1979, and they played 1 year in a league called the WHA, and then they moved to the National Hockey League. And then within a 7-year period, they won 5 Stanley Cups. And so my grandparents were Oiler fans, my dad. So you don't really have a choice. In Edmonton, the Oilers are like a religion. People are pretty diehard there. It's a decent-sized city, about 1 million people, but it's not big where there's like tons of other things to do. It's just kind of the Oilers, and people are super crazy about them. And obviously we're pretty lucky with a good player now in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl too. So pretty fortunate nowadays to be an Oiler fan. It was tough there for about a 10-year stretch, but lately it's been better. So.
And of course, hockey is a big sport in Canada, maybe even the biggest, I guess. So was sports a big thing in your family?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like both my parents played sports. My dad was an American football player, but he also played soccer, soccer as well. My mom played volleyball and basketball, and then my sister was an ice hockey player as well. My cousins played ice hockey, and then my other cousin was a figure skater. So amongst the 4 grandchildren on my parents' side, on my dad's side, that were living in Edmonton, my grandparents were always in the rink, kind of chasing us around. So, and then on my mom's side, my mom comes from a farming background, actually. She's from a small town west of us in Canada, of about 700 people. So because my parents are both retired teachers, now they are, but they were teachers, in the summertime we would go back to the farm and my mom would kind of help out. So my grandpa is 85 and he does what he can nowadays, but he made his living as being an apple farmer. So in the summertime, I would go back, and much to my displeasure, my grandpa would get me up at 6 in the morning. I have to pick cherries sometimes, and some of my other cousins be throwing cherries at each other and stuff. But I think a lot of that it taught me good values of just hard work too. And so, yeah, I was very fortunate upbringing. Yeah, I spent my winters in Edmonton and then summers on the farm a little bit too. So.
And I saw you were in some of the youth teams. You were the captain of the team. Are you a natural born leader?
I don't know. I mean, like, I can remember, like, even in like music class when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I was kind of I don't know, had a big mouth on me, and my teacher would come up to me and say, I don't know why, but kids seem to follow your lead, and I honestly don't really know why either. I don't know. I just try to work hard and try to treat everyone with respect. And yeah, for whatever reason throughout my childhood, again, my coach said when I was 14, he's like, I don't know why people follow you, but they just do. So if I'm a natural born leader, I guess, maybe, I don't know. But that's never something I've seeked out. I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. Yeah.
And in 2022, you decided to go to Europe.
Yeah.
You played hockey in Sweden, and after then a year in Germany last season. Why did you choose for this European adventure?
Yeah. So after I played university hockey in Canada, our team didn't make the playoffs, so my season finished, I think, beginning of March. So I had an opportunity to go back down and play in the States for a couple weeks in the Southern Professional Hockey League. And that was really eye-opening for me, that experience. But it was good in the sense that I realized that maybe that wasn't the environment I wanted to be in. For example, that club I went to had 75 different players play on their team throughout the year. Whereas you look at our team so far, I think we have 23 guys. So there you're kind of on a week-to-week contract, and now I have a wife, and it's not uncommon for players to play on like 4 different teams in a season moving around. And so that just wasn't something I was really looking for. I was maybe looking for a little bit more stability. And then, yeah, the opportunity in Sweden arose, and we were in a really small town there too, but there was about 11 or 12 of us imports that were kind of living together in the town. And so we became, like, we had lunch together every time, and that was a really cool experience to have. And then last year in Germany, got a good opportunity to play in Neuwied too. Like, they're obviously a real strong team again this year, and real good fan support there as well too. It's always fun playing in that rink. From playing against Heerenveen last season, I got to see the way they played, and I think I did a little bit of homework on the coaching staff and heard good things about Mike and Pipo, and Dennis is obviously new for this year, and I kind of identified this club as a team I wanted to come play for, and I know it's easy for me to say now, but last season, during the season, I identified this team as the #1 team I wanted to go to. So I was pretty ecstatic when they expressed mutual interest, and just really happy to be here.
Yeah, because this season you played UNIS Flyers. And what do you think of this season so far?
Obviously up and down a little bit too, right? We've had some really good moments, some really good games, and I think we've shown that we can compete with any team. When we play to our capability, I really believe we can beat any team. And come playoffs, the first round's a best of 3, and the next round I believe will be best of 5 and final best of 5. And I think if we play the way that we're capable of, this league is so tight. Like I said in an interview a couple weeks ago, 1 through 8, whoever's in the playoffs, I don't really think it matters who you play. The nice thing is maybe you get home ice advantage, but at the end of the day, I don't really think that matters too much. And yeah, we've shown glimpses of having that ability, but obviously, there's been a few more losses than we would like, and we kind of talked about that, and we're almost finding ways to lose. It seems like we're in a lot of games, but the other team, for whatever reason, will get an extra goal and we'll have 1 or 2 mental errors. And but I think the one thing that's been really good is we practice really hard. Last year in Neuwied, we actually only practiced twice a week, and this year we're practicing 3 to 4 times, and that was a big reason why I wanted to come here, is because I knew guys worked hard and were committed. And our practices, we push. So I think that'll benefit us come playoff time, as we're able to play at a higher pace and have more energy than these other clubs. So it's one of those things where I love to say, like, yeah, we're going to be the best team at the end of the year. I can't say that definitively, but we just have to focus on what we can control every day and just work hard and see what happens. But I definitely think we got a shot.
And the Dutch Championship is coming up in the playoffs a few weeks later.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
I mean, obviously playing Geleen in the Dutch Championship, I think that's going to be a real close game. I think we've played them now, I want to say 3 times, and at least 2 of them have gone into overtime. So, and I mean, you know, Neuwied is a top team as well too, and we've beaten them twice as well. And I mean, Geleen just won last night for the Baker final. So, you know, for the Dutch final, I think that's going to be a real close game. I think we're all really excited that's going to be here in Tialf. You know, the fan support this year has been awesome. I guess that's a big reason again why I wanted to come to Europe was the fan support. It just makes the game that much more enjoyable for us and brings energy for us to play. And then obviously for the playoffs, again, like we'll see what happens. Like I mean, you know, I was on a club last year that only won 3 of the first 16 games. And then we ended up being 1 goal away from the championship against Liège with a 4-1 lead in the first period, no less. So, yeah, you never know what can happen. I remember talking to my dad last year, I want to say just before playoffs, and he said to me, he's like, Brett, like whatever team comes together the most is going to go the furthest. And I remember Neuwied, we got off to a really good start in the second half. It was actually kind of reversed from Heerenveen last year. Heerenveen was the top team, for sure. And then they kind of got off to a rough start in the second half, and then Neuwied, we had a really good start, and then we kind of tapered off before playoffs, and so I was not really feeling great about our team. And then I don't know, it just for whatever reason things clicked. So I think that's the thing that we have to. I'm trying to preach as much as possible is not to get too high, not to get too low. And I think sometimes, you know, when things are going well, we show a lot of confidence in the dressing room, things are up, but then you can see maybe when we get a goal against or mistake, I'm sure, yeah, you guys can see it, that sometimes we come out a little flat. But when we're playing our game, like there's some times where the shots are like 21-5 in the period. Like I want to say, what was the last game that we played here at home against Liège? You know, we had a rough start, down 3-0, but once we get rolling, get that confidence, like we're a tough team to beat. And, you know, I don't think too many teams are going to want to play us in the playoffs, you know, because we play a real aggressive style, physical, and we pressure all over the ice. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Perfect. Brett, thank you very much. And of course, good luck in the next games.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.